This camera sucks. It's not as good. There it is. TJ say it's good. All right. Finally, got some chat. The camera's not as good on this, but hello again. How you doing, Christopher? The camera's not as good on this, but it's the iPad and it's working. Hello, Jim. So yeah, the iPad. It must be my phone. I don't know what's going on with it, but at least this works. So at least we can chat some fishing, some cold water fishing, live action. I know it's insane. Like, I'm going nuts. Trey Cox, what's going on? Hey, I appreciate it, Christopher. I didn't know. It did get through, so I don't know how to send it back through though. Southern California, man. We're a little before pre-spawn. I'd say they're frozen right about now, and they are just sitting there still in the water, practically dead. But you know, we've had probably, what, Jim? What do you think? 2-3 inches of rain, and everything's flooding. I appreciate it. No, I really do appreciate it. Any donations? I mean, that's really cool. So, yeah. So the rain's coming down hard, and the lakes filling up. The creeks are all way out of their banks, and what's better than cold, muddy water? And that's probably the worst thing to fish. But what do you guys like to do? I mean, when it is real cold water, what is your lure of choice? Say, okay, so he's saying, what do you say, 50 Mississippi, or 40s to 50s, and the fish are biting. Yeah. What's up, old redneck? Cold water. What do you guys like to throw? I mean, I have a problem. I don't throw enough jerk baits. Lipless crank, those are great. But typically I find those better when there's grass, so you can get it caught up and rip it out, and then you know, get the reaction strikes. But I have trouble with cold water sometimes. Hey, what's up? Hey, I really appreciate the donation. Thank you. Blade baits in cold water. What do I say? Well, I know the Tackle Junkie loves to throw a blade bait, as in a chatterbait. Thank you, Tackle Junkie. But I like to throw spinner baits. But I'm way more confident in. You still there? My screen froze. I'm way more confident in crankbaits than anything. So, are you froze too? Let's see. Alabama rig. I am froze up for some reason. My screen is frozen. I'm a crankbaiter. I like to throw crankbaits. I'll slow roll crankbaits. Okay, good. So that way you can see my beautiful face there. So cold you. No video, just audio. Whoa, what does that do? Wow, that's crazy. My whole state is frozen. Let's see What the hell is going on? Why do it's this stupid iPad? Dang. I'm back. I don't know if you guys are back, but I'm back. Um, let's see. What is this? Okay, here we go. All right. So I'm back. Anyway, let's see. Um, let's read those comments I missed. Yep, frozen up, no video, just audio. Your state is frozen, you're freezing. You have a hard time slowing down with a spinnerbait. I think that's why you like chatterbaits. Yep, I understand that. I love spinnerbaits. I like the slow roll spinnerbaits. The jackhammer is always good. Those are expensive. So it's good now. Okay. So Jim, come on now. Don't give me such a hard time, man. I'm new to this live stuff. I'm not real good about that. But yeah, so my biggest, I guess, I figured out one day we were having a tournament out here at this my local lake, and we had stocked smallmouth. I hate where that camera is. We had stocked smallmouth, and it was so cold we always have trouble catching fish in this lake when the water's 45 to 50 degrees. Once it gets above 50, it's good. But before that, it's hard to catch these fish. And so what I did was I used a Rebel crawdad, just a little Rebel crawdad, and was thinking if I can hook one or two little smallmouth that would stretch. Awesome. Good. I'm glad you got it, Glenn. That I would probably win the tournament because these smallmouth like colder water, and I'm thinking, well, that's my best bet. But man, I started catching 3 pound largemouth one after another. I ended up with 17 pounds, and second place had like 4 pounds with two little ones, and it just was amazing. But I think it was the slow wobble, and if you drag it those crankbaits real slow, you can catch fish, and I think that was the key, and that kind of has always stuck in my brain that um, you know, fish are always going to eat fish, and I cannot put the crankbait down when the water's cold. Yep, yep. I use that. Which we have a video with that, don't we? I think so. But yeah, I like to throw crankbaits in the cold water. Jerkbaits, it's hard for me to be patient enough. Um, you know, I like to move. I'm a power fisherman, and I like to move and cast. And I don't, but you know, I have some, and I've always heard that flat-sided are they really shine in cold water, but I don't throw them a whole lot. Man, I you know, when Brandon was here, him and Trey were giving me shit because I was throwing that 1.0, that KVD 1.0, and I caught fish, so I was happy. The Little John. Now I've heard good things about that. If I don't know if Keith Nimchek ever gets on these lives or these YouTube streams, but man, he really believes in that crankbait, that Little John. So what else? What else do you guys? I mean, a lot of people throw jigs and drag baits. I throw shaky head every once in a while, but our water is kind of dirty, so I don't do a lot of drop shot and stuff like that. And maybe that's why I don't throw jerk baits a lot, because usually the water will be real clear and I'll be ready to go do something like that, and then we'll have rain like it is today, and it'll dirty up just in time for the tournaments to start. What are you talking about, the Little Johns? But besides that, I mean, um, other than cold water fishing, if anybody got some questions about cold water fishing or wants to tell me and teach me about cold water fishing, what do you think about these tournaments starting up? I mean, FLW has their second tournament going on. BASS Elites started today. MLF has had a tournament. Heaviest ugly fire tiger spinnerbait you have with a big Colorado blade. That makes sense. That makes sense. I bet Schreiber probably like that. I a lot of people catch stuff on Fire Tiger, and I tend to not throw it, but they all down south. Who? Oh, yeah, I think who. So St. John's, where's St. John's? That's where the elites are, I think, and then FLW's at Toho, and John Cox caught over 30-pound bag today. That's crazy. That's huge. I didn't get to see it, but Jim, why didn't we do a fishing fantasy fishing? I did make a team. I got in the BASS or the Elite Bassmaster one. I think FLW went away from fantasy, but if you'd like, we could start one. Yeah, so they're all close to each other. You catch catfish in cold water? You do? I mean, Mark Menendez and I think there's one other guy you would know. There's some guys down there, fighters in the elites, and I need to shave. What's up, Sean? What's going on? We're just chatting fishing. We're not doing anything important, but sitting around chatting fishing. There's a boat show going on right now. Trey's down there, trying to sell some boats. So if you're around St. Louis, go down to the boat show this weekend and buy a boat. So catfishing is great in cold water. What are you like? What are you doing? Just drift fishing, or what do you do in cold water? Yeah, there's not a lot of guys left, but hey, Jim, what is he selling? Is he down there with what? Is he down there with just the marine shop, or who's he with? Is he Crestliner? I think he was down there with the Crestliner guys last time. First BFL. So the first BFL Illini division is April 27th. Oh, Phoenix. Well, I know he rolls a Phoenix, so he's Lewis Boats. Okay. But yeah, those Phoenix are bad. But April 27th, I think, is the first Illini BFL, and it's at Rend Lake, of course, which will be fantastic. But it is. I'm gonna miss it because I'm gonna be in Florida. Anchor fishing behind wing dikes on the Missouri River. Basically, find the fish in big schools and just sit on top of them with cut bait. That's pretty cool. Do you ever fish outside of like Mosenthien Island, those wing dams? Last tournament experience. When was my last tournament? Oh, that was Shelbyville. I fished. That was a good tournament, but I just missed the cut, and I was actually catching them on a 1.0 there, but I just missed the cut. I'd like to. I don't like to lose. I like to win, so I always try to cash a check and get in the winnings. But man, I was like one or two spots out of a check and going to the second day, and dude, I really do want to be the boater. I, I, but I just, I don't know. There's a couple things holding me back. Looking at a Phoenix, never rode in one. What's my favorite boat I've been in? Well, I tell you what. Um, Favorite running. I thought I was gonna die in every one of them, but the one I one of them I remember was a Bass Cat, and it was we passed everybody, and when we got to a stop, we had to stop and talk to some guys, and they were like, they asked him why he bought a Bass Cat, and he said it's because he was tired of people beating him to his spot. So he bought a Bass Cat. I mean, we were rolling past these Rangers, but I was scared to death. And then I rode in what was that? A Gambler. Holy cow, that was, I think we were going 80, 84 or 86. That was insane. But honestly, I like Rangers. I like to ride in Rangers. I think they ride best. I've had my worst experience in a Triton. Just rough ride, and I don't, some of them are better than others. I've been in a regional where I rode in a brand new, I think it was 2017 big 22-foot Ranger bass boat, and then I rode in a 2015 the next day 21 footer, and 21 footer handled it way better and was way easier on my back and more comfortable. I'm gonna scroll. I think I'm behind a little bit. Heading to Table Rock first week of March. Have I been? I haven't. I want to go. Got some people down there that are fishing around there, and I love clear water, but I don't get to fish it much. But I am going to fish Table Rock this year. I will. I'm gonna take some journeys, and I'm gonna make Tackle Junkie come with me, and we're just gonna drive off into the sunrise or whatever and fish, and then come back. You'll be there Saturday. That's cool. What's holding me back? I right now it's kind of I know these lakes, but I haven't been able to afford the grafts that I believe that some of these lakes require to really get serious, because there's some sticks. There's some guys that know these lakes so well that they'll make you look pretty bad. And so I'm kind of wanting just to make sure I can get around safely, get around, know where the channels are, have a GPS, be able to follow a good screen, get through the lake safely, have enough room for 2 limits, because we're putting 2 limits in the boat, and just make sure that everything is just tip-top shape, and then I will fish as a boater. The boat I have right now, I'm willing to move to the boater side if I had some grafts, and not just to find fish, because I fish shallow most of the time, so I don't really care about that as much as navigating safely. So that's my main concern, and that's, but those things are expensive. I got a family and a lot of other stuff I spend money on, like food, and so maybe if I wouldn't buy so much food while I'm working, I'd be able to afford some nice grafts. Almost broke my phone. What do we got to do? We need to get on Table Rock. Offshore jig. What's up? TJ Phantom and Watts showdown. That's going to happen soon. Watts is going to be buying lunch a lot this year, I think. But every time we actually get to go fishing, Watts, for some reason, can't make it. But he talks a lot of crap about, when he when he's talking. It's funny to hear him. Offshore jig rod length. I don't throw jigs a lot. That's one thing I want to do this year, is really get into jig fishing. But I would probably go as big as I can get. I'd go 7, at least 7.5. And because I mean, I'm not the tallest guy, but I'm 6 foot tall, and I like long rods. And when you're fishing out offshore deep, you're setting the hook to the side anyway. You know you're not going down with it at all. So I'm gonna have the longest rod for the longest cast and a big hook set. Yep, we're going to table rod. 15-foot John boat, 86, 75 Mercury's. Oh, that's gonna be cool, man. I got a couple old motors in here I'd like to get running. Shabona, nope, never been. All those, I do not have any Pappy, just so you know. But if you come around and see a bottle of it for a good price, let me know. You can buy it and ship it to me, and I'll pay you for it. If it's, I don't pay anything over retail. So I don't pay for fishing lures over retail. I just don't pay for I like deals. One bait technique you plan to fish more this year? Jim, that would probably certainly be a jig. I'm going to force myself. I wonder if this would stay up long. I'm going to force myself to jig fish. I don't know. I have so much confidence in a shaky head, but I need to fish for big fish this year. I'm not gonna fish for small fish as much as I do. I would love to be in the front of the boat. I really would. And when it comes to like spinner baits and when it comes to power fishing shallow, I feel like I can contend with a lot of the guys in Illini, except the guys that like know these lakes so well that they just know where the fish are, regardless, temperature and clarity and everything. They just know where the fish are. So, but I feel like I could contend, and I really want to fish and give it a shot. But out of the back of a boat, I throw a lot of shaky head. Don't throw enough Ned rig, but I've been doing well on a little crankbait, so that's kind of my go-to right now. I use spinning gear all the time. That's what I throw my shaky head on, so I use it a lot. Yeah, I got a couple motors that I'd like to get running. Jim Rogers crankbait and bone to throw on Wren Lake. Jim Rogers. I'm gonna write that down. I'll check him out. Jim Rogers. But Tackle Junkie, you did not see that, so don't write that down, because we're gonna fish Wren too. Stole my Nico rig. Okay. So Nico rig is kind of just a shaky head, but modified and with a smaller hook. So we'll see. Honestly, I have fished with a guy out here, and I was using a shaky head and flipping plastic and stuff, and he was throwing the Ned rig, and he caught the biggest fish in our boat like 3 weeks in a row. And so that Ned rig, those small baits catch big fish. I've had my biggest bag out here, which was about 23.5 pounds with 5 fish. And it was all on a shaky head, just the 7-inch straight tail shaky head worm. Oh, okay, they're vintage. I probably got some. I got a lot of old lures. Yeah, Chris, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about moving to the boater side, but I really do like being a co-angler, and it sucks, but I really do like having my destiny in someone else's hands. I don't really like that part, but I like to compete and I like to figure out, I I truly like to catch more fish than my boater. I mean, I think it's great. They don't think it's very fun. Pickwick this summer with a mag shaky head, that would be sweet. I love throwing Zoom Magnum trick worm, and that's one of my favorite worms to throw. Rattle traps. I like traps, and the most common way is just to burn them or, yo-yo them or whatever, and especially out of grass. But I remember when I was little, I would go to my grandpa's all the time, and he had a lot of riprap and docks, and I was young. I didn't know really how to fish, and I would let off about 3 foot of line with a silver blackback, you know, rattle trap, and just walk on the bank. And I couldn't tell you how many times a nice, decent 2.5 pounder would eat that thing as I'm just dragging it along the bank, walking along the dock. And so, you can definitely catch fish just burning a rattle trap along them rocks and along the banks. Yeah, Jim. I've heard a shaky head does well in that lake, and I'm looking forward to fishing it. So you let me know. I know you told me it's like you don't fish it until it's like 85 degrees and sunny, but we'll have to go. He's not my agent, but he can, if he wants to find me deals, he can find me deals. He's actually helped me out a lot with my YouTube channel, and so I kind of, he might be my agent, but I never paid him for it. So I might give him give him some lures or something. Well, I'll give you a hat, Jim. Yeah. Oh, Jacob. Well, I might be yours. Might be your co-angler this year. I'm s- I'm I'm not gonna fish the first BFL, like I said, in on the Illini. Good evening. What's up? Blue collar fishing. You heading out, or you coming in? Can't remember. Um, so I'm not gonna fish the first Rend. I'll be in Florida, and but I'm looking forward to trying to catch back up with the points race after that. Really. So much. Would you try out the Strike King cutter worm? The cutter worm. What is that? What does the tail look like on the cutter worm? Is it flat like a blade or something? Maybe why it's called cutter worm. I feel like I remember seeing that worm, but I don't know. I don't think I've used it. Hesitant to be the boss. Get you some balls, you can do it. Yeah, man, I like fishing out of the front, and a lot of times I'll fish buddy tournaments by myself, and I don't do too bad, but it's just because I love fishing out of the front of the boat, but I just bigger tournaments. I kind of want to make sure I'm like have that navigation thing down, and I don't know. I should just jump in it. I should just I should just do it. But that's a lot, that's a lot of commitment also. That's because if I'm going to be a boater, I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to commit more money, and that's one thing I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit to yet. Look at the Ozarks. I've only fished there a couple times. I did fish a BFL there, which a lot of my, I don't get out much besides hitting BFLs. So my the time I fished the Ozarks in a BFL, it was and the one of the early tournaments. I got into it, Um, and I was in the elevator, and this guy said, "Oh, you fishing the tournament?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fishing the tournament." He said, "Oh, my son's here. This is his first tournament ever." And I got this overwhelming feeling that I was screwed the next day. And lo and behold, it was his son that I got paired with. And we got out there, and he only had a fish finder in the back on the console. So he was trying to fish a point not far off the ramp, and he kept asking me how deep we were, and I was like, "Yeah, we're I've never been here before, but I'm pretty sure the point is way up there." And it was a bad day. I did catch a fish, but he blanked. I caught one little one when we got shallow throwing a crankbait, and that was it. And that's my BFL story. And what they caught him on, the winner was catching them on like an orange and black or orange and black silver jerk bait, and um, they were letting it sink, and they would weight it down and let it sink backwards, and then pop it up, and that's how they won that tournament on the Ozarks. April for silver. Yeah, he doesn't have any fishing gear. He has a lot of stuff. Just kidding. I thought so. Um, I think we can catch him there. We'll go when it's early. We need to go to that lake earlier than you usually catch them, and we'll get it figured out. Yeah, Lake X is what I was saying. But we need to go to that other Lake X, the one that's warm right now, and we need to go next Friday, and we need to fish it. Oh, I know. I've 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 been to his house. I've seen it. I it's he is the tackle junkie, that's for sure. We're completely different because I'm a mess and he is like calculated. Like he's like, where did that one 4-aught hook go that I had like 2 weeks ago? And it'll bug him because he has everything figured out, and I'm just like, where did my tackle box go? And so we're a little different, but it's good. He teaches me to be a little more organized. Like my wife, she's extremely organized. I'm not. I would not even have like videos if it wasn't for people like him and my wife. All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna go Friday. You need to go. We need to fish some dandies. What is it? Just like a little pond or what, Danny? What has the BFL made you better at? Um, the BFL. You know, a lot of things pop in my head when you ask that, but it, one thing like looking at structure and trying to really examine it is one thing, because when you're behind a boater and he's casting to the best spots, you're kind of trying to think more in depth of he is just fishing the highest percentage spot of that target, and where could the fish be if the fish was not at the highest percentage area. And so that is one thing, but the other thing is just I was extremely serious. Like I would be hard on myself, and I would come down on myself, and like I would stress myself out, and kind of being a boater or being with some of these boaters, and I would look into my draw and say, oh, I'm screwed, or ooh, I'm gonna have a good day, and all that combined, it just now I go into it, and you just need to slow down, and just no matter what, you're gonna be out fishing, so just just chill out. Don't be so crazy serious that you drive yourself crazy. I mean, still analyze things and figure it out. But I think that's what the BFL has taught me, is just to be more patient and be more open minded when it comes to who I'm fishing behind. And I really don't mind fishing behind anybody. I think nobody, even I don't even think Kevin Van Dam can catch every fish. So somebody can catch a fish behind anyone. And that's kind of the mindset you have to have in the BFL as a co-angler, is that there is a fish there and you're going to catch it because you're doing something just a little different. Let's see. Yeah, it was fun fishing with Fluke Master. But Jim is a little OCD. Boat requirements. I think minimum 17 foot. You have to have all the placards or whatever they call them. You gotta have the kill switch. You gotta have all the safety regulations. You have to have a live well to hold two limits of fish, and I think that's it. But 17 minimum. Um, yeah, I think you just have to meet requirements of Coast Guard and have all the certain papers, insurance, of course, and I think that's it. Yeah, it should be in the rules or whatever. If I can find it, just email me or message me and remind me, and I will find it for you. No kidding. I would have a what 21 foot or 20 foot Skeeter would be nice, but I would probably, I don't know. Phoenix and all those boats are nice, but I'd probably go Ranger. I I I would probably go Ranger. I love money. Um, it's not about the money. It's your true. Didn't think. Yeah, I wanna go motor for sure. Hey, you're it's fine. It's fine, tackle junkie. It's all good. You can be OCD if you want. It's good sometimes. Like, remember last year when you were like asking me about some pliers or some snips, and you like that's what you talked about the whole day, and I didn't know what you were talking about. That was that was funny. But yeah, did you ever find those? Because I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, why is your boat too small, Christopher? I don't know how far I am behind. Bent rod bassin. What's going on? Yeah, I wouldn't mind winning a couple of those events. I know if I'm flipping bushes, I'm going to catch fish, but I don't know how that would go. But I've picked up enough. Like, rend fish are weird. How you just lay your line over the bush and just yo-yo it until it gets heavy. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But if I could, no, froze up. Dang. Yeah, it needs to be bigger than that. I'm going to see if this is